building an AI company, Internet of Things, IoT, hardware, games, animation. How to make it, I don't know at all.
I feel it's pretty crucial to go into the working force first for at least a couple of years to see both sides of the perspective of being an employee and an entrepreneur.
I was so curious that how to actually run a company.
Before you actually can do what you love, which is a luxury, I feel, I think you need to go through some learning, some experience, some hardship first in the beginning. So when I had the opportunity, I just go for it.
You know, how to structure employee, what is company culture, how to get business, how to network, where to find clients. It's really tough.
So for employee, one of the only way you can get there is to invest in money. Investing is extremely important.
If you really want to find a job, I felt that you have to find the right boss.
Employee first or entrepreneurship first?
But if you really ask me, I think Hey guys, before we jump into today's episode, me and Jim would like to ask you for a quick favor. It turns out that over half of the people who tune into the Entrepreneur Journal haven't subscribed yet.
And if you've been enjoying the conversation that we're having, the raw stories, the strategies, the lesson from creatives, athletes, founders, and dreamers, the best way to spot us is simple. Just hit that subscribe button.
Well, it's free. It just takes 2 seconds and it genuinely helps us to keep the show going and growing.
And here's our promise to you. We're going to keep showing up with better guests, deeper stories, and better production quality every single week. Now, thank you for being here. Let's get into the episode. Hey, we're back with another episode with the Entrepreneur's Journal. And I think today is going to be a pretty interesting one because we were debating about whether if we should be an employee or if we should become an entrepreneur. So I thought, why not just whip it out and put on a discussion for today's podcast, because I think it will benefit a lot of people who might be on the sideline as an employee, wanted to go to entrepreneurship, or even entrepreneurship going back to employee. So there's going to be a few interesting topics which we want to discuss or even debate today, because we come from a very different background, you and I. I'm from an employee background, so I've been working in Lemon Sky for 18 years, from a junior all the way to like the head of production. So I've been through different stages from being the bottom employee all the way to the top, so I can see how employees' feelings and how they deal with work, and as well as how the founders deal with the business and grow the business, as well as client as well. And you, Steven, has been in the entrepreneurship journey for almost 10 years, more than 10 years actually.
About that, yeah.
Right, and you've been working for just a couple of years and then went through your entrepreneur's journey. So I thought it'd be interesting from a different point of view to talk about it.
Yeah, we have been debating this in the past 2 days. I think this will be benefit to our audience.
Yeah. For sure. And I think it's going to be a fun one. So, Steven, employee first or entrepreneurship first?
To be honest, I was I did think a lot when I was in college, whether I was kind of like ambitious during college. Even my lecturer also said that I'm ambitious while working on the projects. To be honest, while doing in the college time, or even high school actually, I always wanted to become an so-called like businessman or entrepreneur. But at the same time, I do not have any experience, do not have any people to, can mentor. So I was thinking like maybe, I should find a job and test water first. So, but if you really ask me, I think this DNA built in me, it should become an entrepreneur. I don't know why, but it's just built in me. That it's not that I cannot work with someone, but I just felt like I just want to do the things that I love to do.
That's the thing about entrepreneur, right? Because people say why you become entrepreneur is you don't want to work for someone. You don't really like taking instruction from someone. That is why you become entrepreneur and become your own boss. You think that's true?
No.
No?
Because if I can't work with someone, because to me, being an entrepreneur or running a business, I think, like I mentioned in the previous episode, I think the most critical thing is that finding a right partner. So I believe that finding a right partner is similar that, working with someone,
But in terms of like a boss and your partner, because partner you are working at the same level, right? So it's not really instruction all the time. It's like we are delegating the job, right? So your partner will ask you to do something, and then you will ask your partner to do something. So you're taking instruction and you're building something. Whereas a boss instructs you to work on this, to work on that, come office on time. It might be something that it doesn't suit your personality, hence why you want that freedom to take control of stuff, right? And to build your own thing rather than someone else's business.
Actually, no.
Okay.
So I have this experience where, while I was in so I do work in a company before. I think it's about 1 year. So in that year, I actually wanted to go further. I really think that company can, brings me value. And I really think that I wanted to become a manager at that time.
Okay.
But just during a 1 year period of time. Probably, like I said, maybe I'm too ambitious. Because during that period of time, if I remember correctly, I do not have any experience using 3D Max. And I do not have any experience on, I do have a bit of experience doing visual architecture design. So it's a visual architecture design company that I work in. I remember that the boss gave me a chance. So basically in that 3 months, I work and I learn how to use 3D Max. Because last time it was using just like SketchUp. Then I have to learn 3D Max because the company requirement, right? Then I work towards that. And then after 3 months, I have an opportunity to run my own project. So basically, I need to work, with someone, then I can lead the project. And then after that, I felt that I think I can pick up the pace, where I learn how to probably manage or communicate with my colleague, to make sure the project is done. Then after that, by the end of the year, right, I get very close to the bosses, and I ask a lot of questions like, how do you run business actually? What is the company history? How do you start the business? Even go further that I think that I did ask like how much they charge for the project.
And they're willing to share?
I forget. I don't think so. Because I think that is the company PNC, right? So they are not real. But I was so curious that how to actually run a company, But during that period of time, I actually wanted to stay longer so I can learn more from them. But something came up where I had this opportunity to actually do an interior architecture design company, which is the construction part. And this came up and I was thinking, and to be honest, that the company, somehow I felt it doesn't give me the vibe that I can stay that long. Because I think there's a boundary that I felt that I can't grow anymore.
Right.
In the company. And then my ambitions, rise up again. And this opportunity came to me where my previous lecturer actually gave me a project, which actually to design a semi-D.
Okay.
Which is about, millions of ringgit.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I had this chance actually. So I was thinking that, should I stay or should I go for this? But it's not easy because to actually handle a 1 million budget or more than 1 million semi-D house, it's not easy.
1 million in terms of the budget they have for the renovation, or to appoint you as a designer to...
The whole budget is
the
about
whole
like
budget.
1 million and
okay.
above.
Okay.
So for semi-D, I think it's normal.
Yeah.
Or probably lesser. Actually.
Yeah,
it's lesser actually.
Yeah, depending on how luxury you want.
Depending on how luxury you want. But I think the budget was about 1 million plus.
Okay.
So I was like contradicting, should I, stay or should I move forward to this? But then, like I mentioned, I think because when I stayed there, I felt that because I proposed a lot, like should we use like this software and that software, and I wanted to be promoted as a manager, but I think they had a very valid reason, because I just worked for a year and suddenly I want to become manager, and then of course they will ask me to work longer a bit, then probably but this opportunity came, and my gut's telling me that I should go here. So at the end of the day, I decided to just I have to tell my boss that, sorry, I have to, I'm resigning, and I have to leave because of this opportunity. But if I'm not mistaken, I'm not too sure whether I did told them about this opportunity, but I told them that I want to run my own business with another partner. So yeah, at the end I left and become an entrepreneur. This episode of the Entrepreneur Journal is brought to you by Bugworks. If you are looking for top-notch creative solutions, whether it's high-quality graphic production, branding, motion graphics, Bugworks is the team you want on your side. They have worked with amazing brands. If you need creative firepower, hit them up. Check them out in the description below, and thanks to Bugworks for supporting the Entrepreneur Journal. Now, back to the conversation.
Okay, speaking of like working, right? So my question is, what do you think may I just refrain? So do you think it benefits you to work first before starting your journey as an entrepreneur? Or should you just go entrepreneurship straight out from college? Or even if you didn't study college, just started from young, to become an entrepreneur? Because it seems like the few working years also taught you a lot. And that is very valuable to become an entrepreneur. So what do you feel about that?
Actually, to be honest, after college, I wanted to start a business right away.
Okay, really?
Yeah, right away I wanted to start a business, and I did talk to a friend, where because it seems that he worked longer and like he got the experience of like running a business, which is providing interior design services. So I thought like, why not? I asked him like, do you want to probably we can partner and see how we can work together and just start. So me and a friend and two friends, we kind of like both of us try to work with him. But after 6 months, it doesn't work well. So and of course I need money at that time, so I have to
Go back to the job.
I have to find a job. So that is where I found my first job. It actually is not my first job. I do part-time a lot last time as well. But it's like my field. That's my like first job. That's what I study, interior architecture design. So to me, I think it's just basically this something that it builds in you. Or maybe there's a situation that actually triggers you whether you want to become an entrepreneur or you want to find a job.
Right.
Because sometimes people, they don't have, they need to have something that they experience. Then only they will realize, oh, it's like that. Then probably I can go this path. Maybe some people that they didn't really experience that path or situation happen, or maybe they will just like follow through. Maybe they won't really find a job. So all this while for me, myself, I thought running a business or become an entrepreneur can earn a lot of money. That is my conception really. I thought really like, okay, I want to become like a millionaire.
Okay, yeah, I get.
I want to be rich. And last time during that period, I was always like, I had this concept where I compare, with my friends or people, why I'm not as wealthy as they are, or probably in that their age they already kind of like have a lot of money, So I wanted to do that. But after running through as an entrepreneur or running out my own business, my concept changed after that. It's not actually really like entrepreneurship is really hard. At the end of the day, to me, running my own business, I felt that it's important where you find what you love to do. That is at the end of my concept. Earning money, as long as you have the passion that you want to do it, you will find ways to solve the problem and make sure it will be sustainable. And I believe that until that day, if you preserve, I think the money will come. So don't work for the money.
Yeah, I totally agree with that as well. Because if you put in passion, your blood and sweat into it to provide the value, money will come later on as a byproduct of it.
Yes, correct. Right. That's what I need to rephrase that. I'm not sure whether it's correct or wrong because, like I said, every people have different perspective. But this is my perspective where I think if I do what I love to do, I will put 101% to it. And I believe that the money will come later. So that is my perception. But if go back to your question, whether should we go back to find a job or entrepreneur, I really think that it depends on the situation where that person, what happened to him or her before. What triggers him or her want to go this path. I think that is the important question. Or what really triggers them to want to go this path or find a job. Nothing wrong actually. To me, find a job to find a job first is nothing wrong, which is good as well. Because I think that running business for quite some time, team and the founders or management have to come together.
Sure.
If as a founder or as the management team, but you don't have a team that work with you, it doesn't work. And the team doesn't have a visionary people or management, it doesn't work as well. So I believe we need these two to balance it, to run a good company. But if you really want to find a job, I felt that you have to find the right boss. Find the right people to work with. I think learn from them. And I like to use this because when I heard Jack Ma talk about during your 20s to 30, you find the right boss to work in the company, and then 30 to 40, probably 30 to 40 is you can start your own business or something, or do what you love to do, do what you love to do, and you just try. Then 40 to 50, you must be very expert on what you're doing. And then 50 to 60, just guide someone, become a mentor, or something like that. So I believe this concept. So if you already want to find a job during your 20s to 30, find a good boss, learn everything from them. Probably you can go for a startup company and learn everything from there. Well, MNC or big companies is good as well because you can learn the structure. So that is my perspective.
Yeah, we touched a bit. This is now what you touched about, what it takes to become an entrepreneur later. But you mentioned, because my point of view, coming as an employee and starting my entrepreneur's journey now, right? I feel it's pretty crucial to actually go into the working force first for at least a couple of years to see both sides of the perspective of being employee and entrepreneur. Because I think I always tell people this, before you actually can do what you love, which is a luxury, I feel, I think you need to go through some learning, some experience, some hardship first in the beginning to really appreciate what's coming later on in life, right? So because in our 20s, all we have is time, nothing else. You don't have experience, you don't have money, you have nothing valuable to provide other than your time. So I think it's important to, at least work a couple of years to gain the experience as an employee, see how business owners run their company. Because from my perspective, I went through this whole journey of being an employee, working in a company as artist, just hands-on work. And when you're an artist, when you're just a normal employee, you always think from your own perspective, right? Because you feel that you're not getting paid enough, the boss didn't treat you right, the business making a lot of money, why am I getting this salary? You always think you should deserve more. But as you climb the rank, you go up higher and higher into management, leadership, and you start to see the business from a higher perspective. Then you start to notice, actually the business, it's not that easy to just pay employees this much of the salary. You need to look at the costing. You need to look at how much you need to spend on the infrastructure, how much the client is charging you, what is your cost of goods, and how much you can pay the employee, and how to value your employee, like who you should pay more, who you should pay less, because everybody has different skill set. So I think then you start to see that from the business point of view as well. And then also you start to understand from the client's point of view, because you also start to deal with clients and why they're willing to pay you this much and not more, right? Because as an artist or as an employee, you ask, so tight, everything so budget so tight. Why is the client not paying me more? Why is the client not increasing? Because they have their set of budget they need to work with as well. They have their own employees. So seeing all this thing, gathering all this experience, coming out to, and after you realize that you still feel that entrepreneurship is right for you, you want to start something, then coming out to start your own business, you will actually appreciate a lot of things. You appreciate the hardship of becoming an entrepreneur, starting your own business, and you also know what your employees are feeling as well. Because as entrepreneurs, sometimes we might be, if you haven't been an employee before, you might be blinded by, I want to grow the company, I want to, bring in clients, I want to make millions, but I want to do things that I enjoy, But you can't see from the employee's perspective as well, which is important because employee, like you said, is, the heart of the company. Without them, it's very hard for you to grow. You need to find the right people. But we also cannot neglect how they feel and neglect their perspective as well. So having that experience, how many years is it in your early days working? I think it brings a lot of value starting your own company. And like I said, once you can see through all this, you have the experience, you can see from all different perspectives, and then you have earned the experience, you have earned the money that you have saved up to become an entrepreneur. That's where I think you can start to do something that you actually love and enjoy the fruits of your labor. I mean not success in business, but actually build something that you actually love. Right. That's kind of my point of view.
But Jin, I want to ask you this. You have been working as an employee, like in Namaskar, right?
Mm.
But because some people that probably they do not have this kind of like DNA with them, probably you do have. That's why I think you can climb up until like management. But what does it take to be, to go there? And because some people that they don't want to, be there as well. So what does it take, and what gives you the courage that you want to be there, and then after that become an entrepreneur?
I think that's a good question, because everybody is built differently.
Yep.
Some people like to take risks. And even taking risks, there's levels to that. Some people really can stomach the high risk, high volatility, in taking massive loans because they believe in their vision so much, they're willing to go for it. Some people like to play it safe. Some people like to take calculated risks. So I think it all depends on how you are built. And once you start to gather more experience in your work life, you will start to see things very differently. For me, when I started working, I actually, not like you, I didn't thought about starting business or anything.
Okay.
I just wanted to work a career, climb a ladder, and eventually maybe hopefully become like a supervisor, or manager.
But why? Why do you have that kind of thinking and suddenly you want to become like an entrepreneur?
I think in my early days, I didn't really have a lot of entrepreneurs beside me. Although my dad was a businessman, my mom wasn't. She's more like a person who works in the company for a long time, being loyal. That's what influenced me to stay in the company for so long. And my friends, I don't really have much entrepreneurial friends as well. So I wasn't influenced by that. For me, I was just having a good time. Going out, party a bit, have fun, drinking, play sports, work, play games. That's all my life is. I just wanted to live a very normal life and a happy life. And then as I climbed the career ladder, like I said, you start to see in different perspective. You start to see from being artists, you start to see from manager, the bosses, the client. And then especially when I start meeting people outside of office, going overseas to meet people, I see there's such a big world outside. And then you start to see, people's success, and then you start to compare yourself, and then you feel, damn, actually I don't have much to offer. I don't have much value to offer, actually, being just an employee, And although I climbed the ranks to a position, but I feel that all this thing is kind of there. I'm not the one taking the risk. The founder is. Although I'm not saying that as a founder you should neglect the people who help you grow the company, but the founder deserved the most benefit because they took the most risk. And I felt that although I have spent so much time building the team to like 200 people or whatever that is, I don't feel that I'm taking the risk and I'm the one that is deserving all the credits. I feel that it's already there. I don't have the risk. I don't need to worry about the risk. I can just go for it. Right. But of course, it's not easy as well, because to grow a team, to take responsibility for all of this, is still a very tough job. And it comes naturally to me. I didn't really thought about, I want to grow the team. I want to, grow to the stage where I am. It just progressed. It just progressed naturally. Things just fall on my table, and then I just took it up because I'm someone still like to take up challenge, and I'm someone who like to do things that other people are not doing. So when I had the opportunity, I just go for it. So there's chances for me leading project, I'll take it. If there's chance for me to form another department, I'll take it. So all these things just fall on my plate, and from there I just progress. Of course, it takes a lot of guts as well, because there's a lot of time when I jump into something new, I didn't know what I was doing. It's just like going in blindly and then see if it works or not later on. If it breaks, if it's the wrong thing, then you just have to admit and fix from there. So for me, one benefit that I had the guts to do things that other people in the company dare not do. And that's where I kind of get the reputation and grow the team. To a point that I feel that I'm not achieving enough really. I'm pretty stagnant. Right? And in the company, of course, there is chance for me to go higher, but certain things happen where it's kind of like makes me question, is it worth it to continue on?
I see.
Or should I just come out when I'm still able to? Because I'm 39 now, reaching 40. I still have the energy to build something. And I always have this, although I start to worry about my legacy, my future. Whether when I'm 50, 60, do I have things that I will regret not doing?
So this question is when you are in the position of head of production, right?
Yeah.
But do you have this kind of thinking while you are in junior, senior?
No. Actually, no. Because that if you are a junior, senior, you're just you're feeling overwhelmed just by the work itself.
I see.
You don't have time to think so far ahead, And probably that time, my time wasn't so competitive yet. Right now, the industry has matured so much. Right, so a lot of other studios came out. Of course, I'm not just talking about animation, but other industry as well.
Of course.
So back then, there isn't much competition, so it's not that hard to climb on the rank. Actually, I was playing at easy mode, if I want to be honest. Right now, I think the junior is playing at a harder mode. With the industry not in the best shape, so much more talent, technology, and so on and so forth. So I think it's a lot more competitive. But back then, I don't have. It's just living life. Things come. I just want to do good work. I just want to produce good work for the client. And like you said, if you put in your heart and soul to do something and don't care about the money first, money will come later as a byproduct of your effort. And if you keep doing consistently, you keep improving yourself, your skill, money will come naturally. That's what I keep telling my team as well. A lot of people come to me with a mindset of how can I earn more? What can I do to earn more? So I always tell them that don't think from this perspective, because if you don't get what you want, you are gonna be depressed. Right, if you don't get that money amount which you are aiming for, but you should think of what value can you provide to the company, if you can provide that value, the company, the bosses will definitely give you what you value. Right? So for me, I just continue to work to a point where I feel that I am valuable enough. I don't even need to ask for any increment, and the company will value you because you have become someone who it's not easily replaceable, right?
I think, Jin, you find like I said, I think, during your 20 to 30s, or maybe you are in nearly to 40, to be honest, what you have told me, I think you actually really enter a very good company.
Yeah, I feel so.
And
Definitely.
I think both of your bosses, I think they are really treating the company and the people very well. Like they giving a lot of people chances to, like, probably, like, I know you, like, through NSC, like overseas, you have the chances to meet people and gather insights from them and learning from overseas client as well. And I know, like, Lemon Sky have a lot of perks as well. But yeah, I think you follow the right boss.
Yeah, and like you said, you need to find a company that it jives with you, right? You can you can work in there for long. You had the company that has vision. You feel that you can grow in a company. But of course, it's come to a point, meeting so many people opened up my horizon. Traveling different countries, it makes you want to achieve even more. So then you start to ask yourself, if I come out from this bubble, this shell, this safety zone, can I actually make it on myself? Am I actually that capable? Because in the company, I thought I was doing well. I was capable. I know what I'm doing. I gained a lot of experience. But if I come out, can I do it? And that's where I have the insecurity. Can I make it as an entrepreneurship? I know I had it in me. As years goes by, I keep questioning a lot of questions that, do I have what it takes to be an entrepreneur? Right? Are you disciplined enough? If no one instructs you to do anything, would you actually still do it? Would you wake up early in the morning and plan your day without anyone telling you to do so? Are you doing things that no one is actually doing, and you're willing to take the risk, right? So I'm asking myself, I think a lot of time the question is yes, but it's just that, do I have that capability to make something work? So this is something new to me, which I'm putting myself in, so that I will continue to challenge myself, and hopefully a few years later, I don't have anything to regret, even though if I fail. Right? So I can actually tell people that, yeah, I started, I failed, but I learned things, and then I can go on to the next thing.
And you don't mind, like, falling.
Yeah, like I say, I maybe should not use fail, because I think there's no such thing as failing, only lessons. Yeah, and I believe it's the same for you as well, right? Because you have gone through different kind of businesses. And,
a lot of hardship.
And some didn't work out, and some still going on, and finding ways to grow it further, right? Yeah.
But Jin, I also have one question. Like, because I understand in my understanding, in the animation and game industry, I believe there's a lot of artists. I mean, probably this is a bit sensitive, where they probably working on freelancing, outsourcing project. I believe some people probably also, while they are working in a company, and they are also doing outsourcing project, probably at night. Of course, they have their own reasons why they want to do that. But do you think this situation where it will bring them to, slowly become an entrepreneur? Or is this because they just want to earn money? What do you think?
In my experience, it goes both ways, actually.
Okay.
Although one of the more possibility is they just continue to do as freelance to earn money. That's it, and work as an employee. Because at the end of the day, the whole world works with more people as employee and lesser people as entrepreneur. The high risk, high return, right? So most people like to stick in the safety lane. And then some people willing to take the risk, they stick in the fast lane. Of course, fast lane, there's chance to go reach your destination faster, but there's a chance for accident as well. Right? The slow lane, slow and steady, but you reach there much, much later. So majority of the people, artists or any industry, they do freelance. It's just, the mindset is just to earn extra income and get a portfolio. Hopefully they can find a better job next time. There are a few cases of people, like I said, they are built with this really, they really have this entrepreneurship in them. They are really risk taker. They are working just to gain experience, and getting freelance, in the middle of getting freelance, they just find, there's this opportunity, I hook up with this client is giving me good projects, I have the connection. I feel if I step out from the company now, I can actually set up my own team, my own studio, and, continue from there. So these people have some entrepreneurship blood in them, actually. And they actually start up a studio. Some became quite successful. Some, doing okay, but they escaped the 9 to 5 rat race, right? And then there's also a big part of the people who are just doing freelance, and also they get good income from both sides. So I think that's my experience with doing freelancer. I'm pretty sure you know some people who had the same situation where they come out from their job
Yes.
because they do a lot of freelance and then they start
Yes.
their own studio as well.
Yes. Because me personally, during even college time, actually, I already started working freelance. I do have a doubt whether I can take the project or not, because I don't have any experience enough, to take up a project. But again, like my own blood rise again, and I just have my guts to just take the project and work it out anyway. So during those situations, right, I had like a lot of freelancing doing 3D. It just become like natural into me, like, okay, how to speak to, and then I'll learn how to speak to client. What do I have to do with the client? What service do I have to provide to the client? Should I give it free first, or and then all this business model came in. So I had all this experience during my, even in college time until today, So I don't know, but it's just naturally to me that this is built in me that I have to do this. So
right, but giving a chance back to you, like you say, can rewind. Will you still like take up a job first and then jump straight to start your own business, or right out of college you will still work a couple of years and then start? Of course, I'm not saying in the perspective now with the things you experience now.
Of course,
just rewind the time. You're a noob. You don't know nothing. Straight out from college, fresh. Do you still think you will go through the work life first before starting your own business?
If you ask me if I could able to turn back, I think I'll still
go business first.
Yes,
start a business first.
Start a business first.
Interesting.
Than being a employee or find a job. But
then finding a job, you mean?
Yes, correct.
I see.
I will choose that path rather than
start a business first rather than being an employee.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's what I would do.
Interesting.
Because I found out that do what you love to do, I think it's very important. No matter what. I felt like, we live every day, but you don't know when you will, you will die, or I don't want to have that kind of regret that when the day that came to me and I haven't done anything that I want to do, I don't want that to happen.
Well, what do you think of this? My point of, what do you think about my point of view of, I think you should don't care about doing what you love first in the early stage. Like I said, you have nothing to offer. You haven't earned the rights yet. You have no money. Unless you are resourceful, you take the risk from day one. Some people can do that. They come from nothing. They took the risk. But for most of the people, they feel that they don't have the knowledge, they don't have the resources, they don't have the skill set, they don't have experience, people skill, anything. And that stage, you're already wanting to do what you actually love, right? Because if you work a job or probably even starting a business, most of the time you're not doing things you love. Because, right, even as an artist, although you do art, but there's a lot of things in art which it doesn't interest you. Maybe the style, the thing you're working on, it's not your passion. And I face that from artists a lot of time. This project, I don't like the style, I don't like the client, I don't like this game, so I don't put my passion in. And what I tell them is, you don't really get to choose now, because right now you are actually you don't have that skill, or you don't have the experience to demand what you want to do, right? You just have to do whatever you are told until the point where you are mature enough, you have experience, you have reached that level, you earned it. Then probably all the teams in the company will fight to have you in their team, because you have gained the reputation, really. Then you can start to actually do what you actually love. Get more opportunities to work on more things. Or same thing as business as well, right? And then the money will come, and then so that's my point of view. That's how I tell the team as well. So what do you think about that?
I think that's life, right? I mean, you need to, like I said, you need to have like one situation that it happened to you, then only you'll find your path. So of course, there are things that I don't like to do as well. But I love what I do, but it doesn't mean that, things happen that, I like everything. But because of this happened, then I have to face it as well. Because something, you love what you want to do. Definitely there's things that you don't like, it will come to you. But you just have to have the kind of optimistic mindset and perseverance to make sure that you're able to turn the don't like part to become like, that you're able to solve and keep doing what you love.
It's like the saying, don't love what you do. Sorry, don't do what you love, but love what you do.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I always try to tell my team whenever they are facing something that they are not passionate about, they are losing motivation, and they want to do things that they love all the time. Yeah.
Because there's always like they can ask themselves what actually triggers them that they don't like. Is it because of the management? Because sometimes it does influence people, right? If your management people or your lead or your team or your community that you are inside, that gives you the feeling that keeps motivating you, you can learn everything from there. I believe it will turns out that you will be like really love to learn in that kind of community and keep pursuing it. But if you are in the team or in a community where I can't thrive, somehow the management keep blocking me to grow, and my colleague is not supportive enough, my seniors is like that. So of course it does demotivated the person that, and suddenly have that kind of perception that, oh my god, this industry, why is it like that? So I think it really depends on the situation that what happened to them.
Yeah, and why I preach the thing that words which I say, don't do what you love what you do, because my personal experience is like same with everyone in my team. There are things that you definitely don't like.
Yeah.
Although you're doing art, there are certain things that you hate to do. So I work in tons of projects, different style, different clients, right? And certain projects I enjoy it, certain projects I really hate it. I don't like the style, I don't like the client, it's not my type of project which I like to do. But I always remain consistent, because although I don't like the style of the project or whatever, I will try to switch it to a point of view where, although I don't like it, I still want to do something great, produce something great, so that I can impress people. So I always have this urge to want to impress people, to make people feel that, wow, they're impressed by my effort, my skill, whatever that I can apply on it, produce something really high quality. And I take pride in that. So I don't like the work that I'm doing, but I want to enjoy the result. I want to learn to like the result of producing that work, because I want to see people's reaction and people's great feedback. So that is the kind of mindset which really drive me through my whole career. Although it's not art, although even in management, even documentation, paperwork, so I will try to put in my best effort to produce something that this email is drafted nicely, deliver the message nicely to the client, and they are impressed with my communication skill with them. So this is the kind of mindset which makes me enjoy my work more, although it's just a very mundane task like writing an email. And I think that would apply to business as well as entrepreneurship as well.
Like during this 18 years of time in Lemon Sky, do you think that it really prepares you to come out to become an entrepreneur?
Oh, for sure. I think so. I really do think so. Whether I can, still a mystery. But the things that I've learned, I think it really helps a lot. I think if it's not for my experience in Lemon Sky and the people I work with, I don't think I'll be at where I am now with this mindset. Going through leadership role, going through from a team members, from a team perspective to a leadership to management. People's skill as well, I think, is an important one, because I think people's skill is something that is not easy to pick up. If you're just doing your own work in your own desk, it's very hard to learn people's skill. But because I have the opportunity to work with like hundreds of people, meeting clients from all around the world, traveling, experience different culture, I think that opens up a lot. And then, of course, giving public speaking time to time, giving presentation, that really opens up a lot. And through practice, it becomes natural. I still remember my first time going on stage or giving a presentation to a client, nerve-wracking. But after a couple of times you do it, it just becomes normal. Like everyone is just...
everyone just have to start something.
Yeah, everyone just have to start, and then you go. Once you go through it, it becomes a normal thing. And then you start realizing the clients are humans also. I mean, they will make mistakes as well. So don't see them as like they're higher than you. See them as equal. We are just, having an adult conversation. So I think that really prepares me a lot for what I'm putting myself into now, going through entrepreneurship, leaving my company, going through entrepreneurship, and hopefully in years to come, I can build something with the energies that's still left in me.
Does it scare you actually?
Scares me a lot. Really a lot. I have sleepless night, like I mentioned in some other videos of mine. Took me years and months to come to this point, to take this leap of faith. Because I'm basically giving up income, right? Giving up a good pay, and now it's like basically zero pay, right? So you're digging through your own pocket savings every single month, and you're calculating how long can I last with this. Unfortunately, I think it's an important topic to talk as well, like especially for people who are in being an employee, thinking about coming out to start your own thing, become entrepreneurship. I think this is a good, this is a very important topic to discuss as well, because a lot of people just quit without a plan. And it amazes me, like, wow, really, you don't have a plan, no savings, no nothing, and you just quit. Some people can do it, I salute them. But some people who don't have a plan and don't know what they want to do next, that's very dangerous. So for me, I'm always someone in the middle, not super high risk, but not taking any risk at all. So I like to take calculated risk. So from 5-6 years ago, I really start planning, what if I want to exit one day? What if I lose my job one day? Or what if I want to gain financial freedom as early as possible? So I started to really dig into how to plan my financial, how to invest, how much money do I need if I leave my job to start something, or how much money do I need if I don't work another day in my life again? Because I'm someone who wants to retire as early as possible and to do the things that I like, right? That I love, without any stress of earning a salary or having a profit in business. So I started planning, and my goal was actually to retire at 45, which I mentioned before. Hopefully by then I can start something without having financial pressures. Of course, it didn't happen. I'm being put back a few years earlier to go on this route. So I basically started to calculate my expenses, save up every month, learn where to put my money, invest, and learn where to take risks to get a lot of profit, to really get those kind of wealth-changing kind of returns. And because of that, I think I'm where I am now to be able to take this risk. Because I have a longer runway than I think a lot of other people. I have that financial capital to stretch out, so I can at least 3-4 years, 5 years, hopefully.
Wow.
That I don't need to...
Congrats, man.
Yeah, but it's still scary because you are basically burning all the things you have saved up for like 6-7 years ago, right? So it's still a big risk to me, rather than, I can live off my interest for the rest of my life because I hit that target. Right now, I'm not there yet. So there's still a lot of debts you need to clear: house loan, car loan, families to take care of. Right? So it's a huge risk I'm taking.
So there's this thing, like you said, right? Sometimes you just have to pay bills. And I'm not too sure because I don't really work in a company before, right? So do you think as a employee, do you think it's like having investment is important for them? Like, for example, like should they park their money into something else so they can grow their money?
Yeah.
Should they really know this, or they should just focus on their career, building their portfolio, jumping to another company? What do you think?
Yeah, I think we can dive deeper into investment in another video, but just to keep it short, I think it's extremely important for everyone at least to invest some money to have that financial stability in the long term. Because we need to keep thinking about where we want to be 5 to 10 years. A lot of people don't think that far ahead, right? So if you start thinking far ahead, then you will understand how much money you actually need when you want to quit the job eventually or retire, right? And investing as an employee, investing is one of the ways that can get you there faster. Because employee, you always have a cap to how much you're earning. Of course, some people earn extremely high salary, but for most people, it's pretty median income. That's why people go into entrepreneurship, starting their own business, because the upside is unlimited. Although the downside is pretty hard as well. you have a hard downfall, but you have unlimited upside.
Easy.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
So for employee, one of the ways, the only way you can get there without starting a business or building a startup is to invest your money. So investing is extremely important, I feel. How much risk you are taking investing, that depends to the individual. For me, I'm someone who willing to take the high risk because high risk, high return. And going high risk means that there's chances to gain wealth-changing returns as well. Yeah, so I think it's extremely important for someone to invest, especially in your employee. And then those investments you can eventually put into your business as well later on. Fund your lifestyle without any income to start your business or put into a business, as a main capital. So I think it's a really important thing. If you're just investing, you're just keeping your money, your salary in the bank, you're actually losing to inflation. So it's actually more risky to not invest than to invest, actually.
Then this leads me to another question that I would like to ask you. So since you have saved money, right? I mean, that you have a runway. But what if you do not have any save up at all? Would you want to really start an entrepreneur journey? Will you do that?
That's a good question. I think you didn't start with money as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I start a little bit, but at the end I gone everything again. I have to start from zero again. Yeah, I start from a little bit of money, then I start from 30K actually.
This is very interesting one. I think there's two paths. One path, if you don't have money and you want to start entrepreneurship, you have to somehow start with a business that can generate you income right from the start, which is most likely servicing work, freelancing, something that you can provide a service to someone and they're willing to pay your service in return, right? And how much you charge is depending on the skill, the value you give. So most likely you need to start with that. For me, if I have already built up a financial backing, then I can have the luxury to build something which in the beginning don't earn any income, and I don't need to provide my service, but I can build something that is maybe later can become something really great, like a brand, a product, or even a podcast like we are doing now, which might not have much viewership in the beginning, but later on, hopefully it can become, a bigger podcast, like some of the big podcasts. And then we can, have more ways to generate some income because we have become like a go-to podcast for a lot of viewers, hopefully. So we have the luxury to build something like that, to stomach through the period where we don't earn any income. So it goes both ways. It's not to say that if you don't have an income, don't have a savings, you can't go out for entrepreneur. It's just that you have to start in different levels.
But in that sense, come back to the question is where, will you really start if you don't have any money at all? What will you do?
One thing I start the business, one thing I want to come out to entrepreneur, it's not just purely money. I think it's because of the skills that I've learned as well.
Okay.
Yeah, because before even coming out, I've been trying my very best to learn as many skills as possible outside from my industry. How to run a business, how to speak, how to present yourself, even business has so many things to learn, right? How to read the P&L sheet, balance sheet, how to calculate your cost of goods, and how to learn to build a brand, how to come up with products that can solve problems, all this kind of stuff, basically, I'm trying to learn. I'm listening to like podcasts, watching YouTube, how to do all these things. Basically, how to better yourself. Anything that can help you grow in the future. So those are the things that I was learning way before I actually resigned. And that gives me a lot of confidence, because if I haven't learned those skills and just focus purely on my work, yes, I can be very good at my work, but what if I lose my job? Or if I want to change industry? That's why a lot of people stuck in one industry, they cannot change later on, because they focus all their life on just one thing, which is a good thing, don't get me wrong, because sometimes it's better to be a master at one than jack of all trades. Which I'm not. I'm actually jack of all trades, but master at none. But that doesn't mean later on I cannot be a master at something, right? So right now I'm just choosing my path. So I think that experience really got me to this point. Learning, a lot of learning, just continue learning.
So you will start even though if you don't have
Yes,
savings?
yes. Sorry, to answer your question, I will still start. But maybe a bit later, also soon. Maybe give it a few more years.
I see.
Yeah, maybe I don't have that motivation, that courage to start immediately like now. So maybe give it a few more years to prepare. Yeah.
I think this is really depending on situation of the person. My understanding is because I believe some people, maybe the family maybe not so good, not good in shape in terms of financial. Or probably they are okay, so they can take a risk, to build it.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of like situation that could happen that make decide what they're gonna go for the path.
Yeah. But it's just the safest way is to prepare yourself. Have the saving ready to make sure you know how long you need to run. The longer the better. Clear off as much debt as possible, which I'm trying to. I hope I did that. And then learn the skills that you need to go to the path that you want to go. Let's say you're entering a business of F&B. Before even coming out, you need to start learning about F&B 1-2 years before, as much as you can. The food supply chain, run how to open a shop, branding of your shop. You need to start learning those skills way before you actually come out. So if you actually prepare these three, I think you're in quite a good position. But jumping to that, I want to ask you as an entrepreneur,
sure.
What do you think? What it takes to become an entrepreneur?
I would say courage.
Courage.
Yeah, because becoming an entrepreneur is not easy, especially for coming a background with no, how to structure employee, what is company culture, how to get business, how to network, where to find client. It's really tough. You need a kind of like courage and curiosity at the same time. And because you need courage to ask. And you need the kind of curiosity to ask questions. So why is it like that? And how to do it? And you need the courage to find the ways that it works. So to me, this tool is very important because this is how I survive until today. Because I have this thing too. One is curiosity and one is courageous. That it gives me, empower me to find solutions until today. So of course there are lots of skill set that we probably need to become an entrepreneur. But to me, I think this tool is the basic foundation that we need in order to become an entrepreneur. Because to be very, very honest, becoming an entrepreneur is not as easy as it seems. Some people we might see today, they are successful, but actually behind the story, probably they actually suffer for 10 years. We don't know. We don't know the story.
Yes.
But we only see the present of someone that is successful, but he has a lot of history behind that we don't know.
Yes, yes.
And that takes a lot of courage to actually go through that kind of process. So why is it so hard? It's because if you do not have anything, that's harder. You don't have any money, and where to find people, where am I heading, and what is it industry about? And like I said, I'm like, for example, I am in the industry where it's tech and also previously was games and animation. And now we are building a media. And to be honest, I do not have any experience. Right? I mean, like tech, building an AI company, Internet of Things, IoT, hardware, games, animation. Well, I do like we mentioned before, I do like anime and stuff like that. I do like to play games, but how to make it, I don't know at all. And running a media company, well, that scares me as well, because I do not have any experience of running a media company.
And doing a podcast like this.
Well, this is my first time as well, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, but this is always something that I love to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, but so you do not have all this experience, right? So you it scares me as well. So like for example, like running animation at that time, right? I don't have any experience at all, but I really love it. So I asked a lot of people, like, how do you, like this artist is in this company, this artist in this company. I asked them a lot. I'm doing a survey, right? Then after that, I try to bring back all like history, like how does animation work, how does game started, or how animation started. Then I really search on the net, who is the father of animation in Malaysia, and it's Hassan Talib. Then I find all his article and try to read like how to really build an animation company in Malaysia. What does it take to become an animation studio in Malaysia? And who are the major players right now? What are the demographic? And where are the places that we have to go in order to expand, the exposure? I find a lot of information through the internet only. But I only get that much. But I'm very fortunate to meet people around me, and they help me a lot. And I find a very good mentor that actually mentor me a lot. And it's not only one. I felt like this animation and games industry is very close to heart. I think people is very warm, and they willingly to guide you, to mentor you, to tell you. But of course, there's always the thing that the foundational in yourself. You have this kind of like the things that you always curious about and you want to learn, and you have to do it yourself. What mentor can do, they just can able to guide you somehow and just telling you. But you still have to do your job. You still have to provide some results, and you have to do it. So I'm fortunate enough to meet a lot of people that actually can guide me through. So we're able to, because when I started that time, I was scared as well. I wanted to do our own IP. So I write in a whiteboard. I really write it down, and I point to Enzo, my partner. I'm saying like, I just write there like IP, then circle it. Question mark. What can we do about IP, and what does it take? We really don't know. I think it was like 2019. We were trying to build like educational IP or something like that, but we don't know anything. But I told Enzo, very positive, give us 2 years. We will know what is it about IP. But it's true. After that, after 2 years, we kind of like really understand what IP does and where does it take, what is IP rights, what is the licensing model, how to do a TV animation series, where does it go, and which exhibition we should go, which conference that we should go, what people that we need to meet, and all this I found out in 2 years' time. And of course, it's not only me alone, but a lot of people actually guide me through this process. So being an entrepreneur, there's a lot of, you are going into like the unknown. But when you go into the unknown, you have to have the kind of, like I said, 2 things, curiosity and courage to go through this process.
Yeah.
And find the people that can really help you. So entrepreneur, also very important that you have to find the right people, the right mentor to guide you through this process. And then that will be ease up on, things that, you don't need to go down this path, you don't need to go down this path. And I learned a lot from everyone. I'm glad.
Few question I have hearing that. Definitely as an entrepreneur, you need to put yourself out there, that's for sure. And, really need to be hungry, right? You mentioned something like you need hungry, go for it.
Yeah.
What if you are in, and this is my point of view as well, if you are in a position, maybe like me, who right now have a lot of runway to take my time to build it, was just someone who just came out, nothing, you need to really day one, you need to work your ass off to build something. Is the drive going to be different? For me, maybe I will not be so aggressive in taking that much of risk. Maybe because I feel that I'm not rushing in time. I can do it slowly, take my sweet time to work on it until it's perfect. Or maybe making this decision is too risky, play it safe first, later on we take this. Versus someone who's like, I need to make it now, I don't have much. I really need this to work. If not, I'll be in trouble, or because I don't have that much of opportunities anymore. I need to be very hungry to make it. That drives you to take more risks and comes with more success. Do you see it that way?
Because like you understand, I come from nothing.
Yeah, exactly. That's why we have different background,
Yeah.
which is interesting to talk about it.
I really come from nothing, and I have to work through it. And I think in the previous episode, I did mention before, I'm not coming from a wealthy family. It was okay, but I have to do everything myself with my team together. Of course, if you have kind of like savings, and then you start a business, definitely it will ease up a little bit on the beginning. But that is just the beginning. I'm not too sure whether I can take it. Let's say, for example, if I have money at the beginning and I started the business and eventually I fall, I'm not too sure whether I can take the kind of pressure or emotional damage. Like, oh my God, I've been saving this much for like 5-6 years.
Yeah.
And probably in a year, already gone.
Yeah, exactly what I'm
Like,
feeling now.
Well, I mean, I don't know how to take that like, emotionally. Probably I will like, what the hell? So probably at the beginning, if you have that, probably you will go through this phase. But I'm where the phase is where I start from nothing. So I have a mentor is like, what can I lose anymore? I start from nothing. And have debts as well. I mean, like, have like millions, and we paid and try to survive. Another business fail again. A lot of debts as well, have to pay again. So to me, it's nothing to lose. I just have to keep going and find money, and and at the same time doing what you love, and the money will come. So, so to me, it doesn't matter like which path.
I think it's more like the drive. We both come from not a wealthy family. I'm the same as well. It's just we started at different point.
Yes.
I started at slow and steady pace, and you started as just like go for it.
Go lah.
Go lah, right? Take risks and everything.
Straight away go only.
And then now we come to a point where, for me, have a bit more stability in terms of I build up a saving, and now I start to take the risk of entrepreneurship. But you have been driving, taking risks all the time,
Yeah.
and don't have that luxury of like building up a lot of savings. You invest back, you have failed in certain businesses,
Yes.
and then rebuild again, have debts to pay, right?
Yeah.
And that kind of drive might be stronger than mine. I don't know. That's what I'm trying to like see from your point of view. Like, let's say right now you have money, you don't have debts or anything, you have saved up money, you are coming out entrepreneurship. Will you have the drive to take that kind of risk, like to go 100% like all the time?
I'm not too sure because I have never been that kind of situation before. Probably I will, probably not. Because I've been in the situation where I always like I have nothing and I have to do it anyway, and I have to support family as well, which is very important. But I'm lucky enough, like my houses, cars, especially the cars also paid off. Commitment wise is basically, I think, because my parents are they retire already, so just have to pay like insurance, something like that. Not much. But go back to the question, where do I have the drive or not? I'm not sure. Probably I will, probably not. It depends on the situation that happened.
Because to me, it's interesting because for me, coming out right now, compare myself to other entrepreneurs who really took the risk and they did really do a lot in a short amount of time. Like every day they are going aggressive. Versus I'm still taking the risks, but I'm going at a slower pace. I feel that things need to be at a certain point of readiness before I launch it or execute, or release it. Sometimes I just question myself, am I doing enough? Can I do even more? Am I being too safe? Some people say, you should take calculated risks, go at your pace. Some people give me the advice is, you should take risks as an entrepreneur, you should go all out, lose, learn, So sometimes it just confuses me a bit. Because I'm coming out from a position of stability, and that's where I don't push myself to take higher risks, or should I try to go for it even harder, or just go at my own pace? Don't keep comparing yourself to others, and take calculated risks. So that's a question I always ask myself, which I also doubt myself sometimes.
I think it's normal because you are in the situation where you have saved the money that you need to save for the runway, and I think probably in psychological way, probably also thinking that should I scared this savings that I use up straight away.
Yes.
And I need to be cautious because you still have to feed your family. You still have things that you need to pay.
Yeah.
And that's why you are taking this slow pace.
Yeah, right.
And you want to see slow and steady and see whether does it work or not. Right? I mean that
Yeah, right. Absolutely right.
Well, yeah. I mean that is your situation, which is no right and wrong.
Yeah.
To me, sometimes I really think calculated risk as well. I do discuss with my partners. I will discuss with my partners whether should we take this or should we do that. Are we in the right position right now to do this? Whether the timing is it right or not. Of course, we have to discuss everything before we take the action. But to me, if the opportunity is there and calculated risk is there, probably have to start something small a bit. We can try do a small part of it, and then let's see about it. So to me, I'll do that.
Yeah. And yeah, that's a good point. And speaking back of mentors, right? You were talking about mentorship, people who was guiding you so you don't make that much mistake. You can propel your entrepreneurship journey faster and stuff like that. Yeah, and that brings me to a point about one final question I have: education. So what do you feel about education versus real life working experience? Should someone, because we live in a world where there's so much information nowadays, should we be taking education seriously, or experience in the industry, learning it yourself is much more valuable now?
To me, I think both is very important, where you have to start from. No, actually, you want to start from like in college or university, or you want to find mentorship. I think it doesn't matter. But in order to find a mentorship, you need a place to find, right? So probably at the beginning, maybe college or university is the place to go to find your real mentor first. Because I had an experience where while I was in second year degree, I was very fortunate to meet this lecturer, where he's actually a guest lecturer, architect, and he's the one who bring me to mentor me, and also to bring me into like a real world experience where I get to work some projects with him. I think that's where, starting to build myself like, outside experience is like that. Working with a client is like that. And then builds up to me like slowly, that's where like, my DNA keep on like, I want to become an entrepreneur or I want to become a businessman. So to me, both ways is important. First, you go to university or college, you try to learn specifically the industry that maybe to build your own foundational first, to get all information that you need and meet people as well. That is where the place where you're able to meet a lot of people. Probably that could be your partners. And I met my partner in college.
True.
Until today. Yeah. And it's with me until today, right? And probably you can find your loved one there. And probably you can, really find your mentor. Because probably your lecturer or whoever, you meet a person where probably his dad or her dad or parents or whoever that, probably you can become one of the people that they can mentor you. So, but both is important to me in terms of education and also mentorship in the real life experience. You need both, actually.
I see in a few ways. Education is definitely important, especially in the sector where it requires very professional skill, high level skill, like doctor, doing surgery, dentist, exactly. I think those, you definitely can't just pop up at YouTube, learn and then go and operate people.
Yeah, I do agree.
Yeah, that's life and death situation. So that needs years of practice and training.
5 years.
Yeah, some even 10 years, right? Doctors, you need to be on the field, for a couple of years before you're qualified to
and they have to keep learning as well.
Exactly.
Because my wife is a dentist.
Yeah.
And in order to become a specialist, you have to keep learning as well. You have to attend a lot of conferences and you have to learn from, there's a lot of things.
Yeah. So that definitely, I think you cannot escape. Education is important. In other stuff that is not as crucial, not as like life and death situation, I think you can still get away with self-learning. Like animation, you could still pop up a YouTube or go to some workshop, Norman workshop or whatever. You can learn something, experience, practice, and then find a job, start from scratch and build your way up. A lot of other industry you can do that as well. But where I felt the education can do much better, like what you mentioned, mentorship. But mentorship not just from the lecturer, but finding real mentor, real experienced, successful people from the field itself that have 10, 20 years of experience, build up a company before, earn a lot, build teams, have a lot of life experience that can share with you. I think those are invaluable. Because I'm not bashing any lecturers for those who are watching, because I feel like lecturing and doing business or whatever in your field is very different. Some people are meant to do things. Some people are meant to teach. It's very different skills. Some people can do stuff, but they can't really teach, right? So we still need lecturers to run through syllabus and everything. But I feel it's very important to find like a lot of guest lecturers to come into the college to lecture part-time and then to really mentor the students. And I feel that that's where the student can benefit the most, because even for people like us, it's not easy to go out and find a mentor.
Yeah.
Right? You have to meet the right person who has the same vibe with you, wavelength with you. Have to also trust you, believe in you, to put in effort to mentor you.
Yes.
So it's not easy to find. Even I hope I can find a good mentor myself, right? But if college you're paying for that fees, and you can get that mentor itself, then I feel the fees that you're paying is really justified. It's really worth it, right? Because I think lecturers, as important as they are running through syllabus, probably a lot of them don't have that life experience, working experience, or maybe not that many years in the industry. Some of them maybe graduate from college straight back into teaching. Some maybe a couple of years in the industry and then go into teaching. But what I was hoping as a mentor is someone who's really, really qualified, a lot of life experience, real world experience that they can share with you. And those are the things you cannot just learn by yourself. You need someone to really, you need to hear from someone who has been there before in order for you to really go into your head, right?
So very well said, Jin. I mean, they have to be, but I have another perspective is where if they're very expert on what they're doing, but at the same time, they have to have like mastery in teaching as well. Because you have the expert of doing that thing doesn't mean that you know how to teach. So it's good that it would be great if the experienced person include that you know how to teach. I think that would be perfect.
Yeah, that's true.
In college and university.
Yeah. I think college and university starting to do that. They have people from the industry come in to give talk, as a part-time lecturer or guest lecturer, definitely. But I think definitely can focus more on that. Yeah. You can keep improving your syllabus. That's what college needs to do. But also putting effort to try to build connection with these kind of people, find out
the industry,
or probably there's some rich, entrepreneur who retired, sold off their company, not enjoying life and want to give back to society.
And they like to teach as well.
Like to teach as well, or not even teaching, they can be just sharing.
Yeah.
Right? They can ask them to come to the college twice a week just to share, or give feedback. Don't even need to teach basically. If the lecturers are teaching the syllabus, but what we want these people, these mentors, is to come in and guide, share the experience and to guide, so I can ask about real world experience, like from their point of view. I think that's very valuable. Yeah. So I hope we can see more of this and more experienced people, successful, coming to guide our future generations.
Definitely.
I think for me, if I had that opportunity last time, it would definitely expel my whole career way faster. Yeah, because I felt that I didn't really got that opportunity. And that's why I was just enjoying life, playing games, partying, working, not really having that very ambitious thought until I start meeting more successful people, people, my clients and people out there. And I start to see that, wow, there's a big world out there. And comparing myself with more successful people and seeing how tiny I was, how small I was and how big the world was, that really changed my perspective. And I hope I actually saw that way earlier, back in college. That would have changed my whole life tremendously. Cool. And on that note, I think we have run long enough in this whole discussion. And let's wrap things up. Let's summarize it, right? Yeah. So being entrepreneur is definitely tough. And what it takes to be the entrepreneur is, I think, a lot of things people already know, but it's true, like resilience, perseverance, determinations, even discipline, to wake up every day, not being told what to do, but you know what to do and you actually go and do the things, do the hard things. Don't expect to be rich just by being entrepreneur, right? If you are coming up with just making money mindset and being rich, I think you will fail. The percentage of you failing is very high. You should come out and have the intention of doing what you love and give as much value as possible to your customer, your audience.
And most importantly, I think, is that to solve a problem.
Yes.
Yeah. Because every business, every entrepreneurship, I think to start something is basically solving a problem statement. Then through the problem statement, and if you find a solution, that will be probably a breakthrough for that company. And people will pour some money to you probably if you're able to solve the problem.
Yes, problem solving first and giving back as much value before even expecting anything in return.
Correct.
Yeah, I think that's important. So if you have that, I think entrepreneur might be the right thing for you, right? And there's no wrong as well working a job. Like for me, like I said, working a job first and throughout your years of experience down the road, your mindset change, your thoughts change, your interests change, then you can consider about maybe entrepreneur is the right thing for you. And then with the experience you have gathered from working, that's where you can apply it on your entrepreneurship journey, right? You can look things from different perspective, from the employee's perspective as well as from a founder perspective, right? How to build culture because you understand what the employee needs, what your team needs. And you also understand business. You can't just spend money and pay everyone. You need to know where your value is, how to control your profit margin and stuff like that. So I think it's a very important thing to see from every single perspective.
Yes. It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter you want to find a job or you want to become an entrepreneur. Like you said, it doesn't have a right or wrong in this situation. It really depends on the person itself, whether they have both. You need courage as well. You need curiosity. So either way, it's okay. Some people doesn't meant to, like you said before, doesn't meant to be, leader or mentor, or some entrepreneur, they doesn't really, meant to do like employees. So both ways is okay as long they love what they want to do and solve problems. Yeah.
Yep. And on that note, if you find that entrepreneur or working a 9 to 5 is the right thing for you, I think you comment down below. Let's discuss. Love to hear from you guys. And also one thing I forget to bring out is entrepreneurs who has been entrepreneurs for years also thought about coming back to working a 9 to 5. Right?
Yes, they are.
Yeah, that's an interesting topic which probably we can discuss next, or even find someone who is going through that kind of
situation.
That phase in life, to come and discuss, because we do know people who are entrepreneurs and so tired thinking of going back to working 9 to 5. Right? So if that's you, definitely leave down a comment below. Love to hear from you, or even get you on the show to talk about it. Yeah, and it's been a wonderful discussion, and thank you for having this discussion with me. So,
thank you, Jin.
Yeah, and this is Gene signing out,
and this is Steven signing out too.
So, and this is the Entrepreneur's Journal, and if you have found this journal, please share it to the world. And I'll see you guys in the next episode. Cheers.